because I did not give myself spending money in June, and yeah, it didn't go well. Hello! Today's a different video. We're going to go through my budget. So each month I get paid about a week or two before, or truth be told, to be honest, it's probably usually about the month before. I will do a digital budget. I'll have a look at what I need to spend for the month, what bills do I need to pay, what do I have coming up, and I will go through it, make sure everything is where it should be, everything's paid off, and what I'm going to do with my spare money for the month, which is usually cash stuff. I'll show you what my budget looks like today, what July is going to look like, and when I get paid next week for the month of July, we will then go to the bank, get the money out, and start cash stuffing all of it. I'm going to show you everything on my laptop. That's how I always do everything. I haven't really got into the writing style for budgeting. I used to a little bit, but I just didn't trust myself with calculating everything correctly, so I just do it in Excel where all of the formulas can make sure that I'm not being an idiot. So if that sounds interesting, please keep watching and share any tips that you have. I want to make my budget as good as possible. I am a qualified financial advisor, so if you have any questions about anything, I am more than happy to help. I also am studying to be an accountant, so maybe it'll be interesting from that point of view to see what a qualified financial advisor and soon to be accountant does with their money, who is also an impulsive spendaholic. Right, so if I haven't said it already, July is a 5-week month. So when you're paid monthly, each month will either have 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Sometimes it's kind of like a 4.5-week month as well, which I think August is going to be, and I treat those as 5-week months just to make sure I have enough money. But what we have here is my bills section. So what you see down here is there's a couple of different tabs that are my main budget, and there's a few that I just have that are helpful, but I can bring you through those as well. So I've got bills, purse, and sinking funds. Those are my main budgeting tabs. So in here, these are all the bills. These all come out of my account. I have the dates down here. Most of them are on the 15th because that's when I get paid. So that just works for me. The amount that you see here is subtotals in a lot of places. So say like the TV license is $13.33. So we just round it up to 14 for sake of ease. There are some things in here that you're probably thinking, that is not a bill. And you are correct. The reason they're in here is because they're things that I specifically pay out of my account, namely food shop, Pilates, and nails. They aren't bills. They're not bills, but food shop is a necessity. However, for me, and I think I've said it before, I have to do my shopping online and do click and collect, because when I actually go into the shop, I just completely overspend. I get cravings when I walk in. I see chocolate, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot chocolate existed, I want chocolate. Whereas when I do my weekly shop, I don't see those things. I'm searching for what I need, and obviously I buy a few nice things here and there, but when I'm in the shop I end up buying so much crap and then coming home with nothing for dinner. So that's why I do it this way. This is all just through my account, and then when you come down here, we end up with the total of my bills, which is, my favorite amount to see every month. Moving into purse then, so purse and sinking funds are more for my cash budget. So what happens is whatever I get paid or whatever money is in my account minus my bills, I will take out all of that in cash, because that's my way of zero-based budgeting, and I'm sure that's the same way a lot of people follow. So the first thing that I will stuff every week is my purse. I read somewhere before in a personal finance book that the reason a lot of people can't stick to their budgets is because you're paying everything else first and not you. So I kind of agree from the point of view of, it's important, you work for your money, it's important to pay yourself first and then pay everything else. But the true meaning behind that is, to make sure that you have the money that you need for you first and then pay your bills. It's not saying don't pay your bills. It's saying do both, but make sure you're giving yourself an allowance first. And I think that's so important to remember in cash budgeting. So what I have for my purse, this has changed a little bit from what I've learned over the first month of cash stuffing. So at the start, I think I maybe had 6 envelopes. I think I've grown to 7 now. So what I do is I will go through this column and I'll put in for the month everything that I want to stuff. Usually I do it based on the weekly amount. So say this is a 5-week month, so I know when I go in here I'm probably going to need about €20 spending money a week. That's my new envelope, because I did not give myself spending money in June, and yeah, it didn't go well. Cash stuffing went great, everything went really well, but where I could improve is definitely giving myself some spending money that's just for me to spend. So this month I'm giving myself 20 a week, and that will, sorry if you can hear my stomach rumbling, I am starving. So the €20 a week then will add up to 100 at the end. So how this works, I've got some little formulas in here that are really helpful for me, but if I put 100 in here, then it splits it out into 4 or 5 for me. So for example, if I put in 50 here, that'll change my weekly for 4-week month and weekly for a 5-week month, so that the amount, you know, will add up to what I've budgeted for the month. So I'll change this back to 100. And that's how it works out. So for this month, what I've done really is I've just really tried to avoid having to ask for coins in the bank, because I feel like a bit of a nuisance. I know it's my money and it shouldn't matter, but I feel really bad when somebody has to sit there and count coins. And I'm not saying you should feel bad, but I just prefer, it's also easier for me to not have to deal with coins, to be honest. So I've gone through this and made sure that the amounts that I'm stuffing each week are going to be nice square amounts, where it's 1 note, 2 notes, but either way, it's notes. So that is for purse. That's how I figure out what I'm going to stuff weekly into the purse that I carry around on a day-to-day. Please don't panic when you see this tab. I know it's a lot, but I'll bring you through it. It actually makes a lot of sense when you kind of go through it. So this is how my sinking funds look. So I've got lots and lots of categories, as we can see. What I have is my starting amount. So I've gone through this. I've gone through my sinking funds over the last month, added up the totals of what I have, and gone through here and put all the starting amounts. So this is what's currently in my sinking funds. And the next column that I'll fill out then is add. So this column here is how much I want to put in over the course of the month. And the end is what I should end up with at the end of this month. So there's just formulas in here that will bring me, you know, from start, add what I'm adding, and what's the end figure. I do have a column in here for targets. This doesn't affect any of my formulas in any way, but the reason I have this in here is just for me to know what I'm working towards. Obviously, we're a long way off a lot of those targets, but slow and steady wins the race. So, and then again, we have columns that split everything out into weekly 4 and weekly 5. So depending on what I've put in over here, so say for example, 1 month ahead, I've said I'd want to save €100 this month into it. So that's going to break down to €20 a week. So that is the 3 sections that I use for actually doing out my budget every month. So every month I'll come back here, I'll update all those things that I've gone through and figure out what I want to do. The helpful sheets that I have created here. So the first one is my cash request. So this is probably my favorite by far, my tab. This helps me figure out what notes I need for each category that I need to stuff cash for. And what you'll see is if I scroll across, I've got this lovely section here that makes sure that all of my amounts balance. So, you know, if I'm saying that I want to stuff €100 for diesel, and I've said I need 250s over here, this section across the page is going to say, yes, 250s equal 100, and yes, that balances. So that could be ghoulish overkill for some people. I can completely understand why you would say that. I politely disagree. Some of us need that, okay? It doesn't matter if you're financial advisor, soon to be accountant, doesn't matter. It's always nice to know you're right. So that's why I have it that way. And then all of this then feeds down into this little teller slip that I have down here. And I'll just write this out on a post-it note and bring that to the bank. So what we can see is for this month, we should be working with about 1510. And I won't show you savings challenges for the minute. It's a work in progress. We will come back to that at a later stage. What I will show you though is my control tab, because I'm also very proud of this. I swear I'm just showing most of you this out of pride because I created my own spreadsheet with formulas and I think I'm great. Anyway, so I've got in here a couple more formulas. So first of all, this big green box, this helps me to figure out so what I'll do is when I get paid, I'm going to go to the bank, I'm going to withdraw all the money, but I do budget weekly. So I need to know what am I supposed to be budgeting every week. And so what does all of that add up to on a weekly basis? And this just means that I know what to split it into. You know, so for the first week, I'll have €390 to play with.
For the second week, I'll have 280, and all the way up till the end of the month, I'll have 280, and that adds up to 1510, which should make sense because we said we were going to take 1510 out of the bank. So I hope that makes sense. And then my last little piece over here, so this is income from multiple sources, and what happens here is this second column right here, this is adding up the totals of all of my tabs down here to make sure that it matches. This column 5 with the balance, this box then tells me, it has a formula in there that tells me that the two of those match. Not that I couldn't look at it myself and figure that out, but I love to see green boxes telling me I'm correct, as we have established. And then the last one here is the cash fee account. So this is my last formula that always gives me the most hassle, but what this calculates is that my starting amount up here minus the total of my bills should equal this one over here. As the zero-based budget goes, everything that I'm paid minus all of my bills should equal how much cash I'm pulling out of my account. I really hope that makes sense. Please do ask any questions if you have any.
So that's my budget for July. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any tips or tricks, any questions, please ask away. Leave tips and tricks down below. I want to learn from everybody. I want everybody to learn from me. Let's help each other out and get our financial affairs in order. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.